Radio Network.
Ever wonder why someone would go to the ends of the earth and leap into the unknown? Maybe a better question is, what are you waiting for? Pacifico is brewed for those who follow their own path. That's living life anchors up.
As Oklahoma grows, we want to grow with it, and serving part-time in the Oklahoma Army National Guard is perfect for that. Our service provides money for school, so we can be ready for a new career or improve our current one. We learn valuable teamwork skills and get hands-on with some of the latest tech. And we also help the communities we live in recover whenever they are in need. Our service is helping to keep Oklahoma and ourselves moving forward. Learn more at nationalguard.com/OK.
Sponsored by the Oklahoma Army National Guard. Aired by the Oklahoma Association of Broadcasters and this station.
From the gridiron to the hardwood to the diamond, no one covers the Sooners like we do. If it's Sooner Sports, we have you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This is the home of Sooner fans.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it expanding your balance. Spend it expanding your mind. Spend it wondering what comes next. Spend it trusting that God has a plan. Spend it taking small steps in your own life. Spend it making a big impact on someone else's. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey Sooners, I'm OU alum and Board Street Ventures founder James Spann. The Sooners season is underway, which means it's time for the Boyd Street Ventures Under the Radar Player of the Game. It's time for you to consider investing in BSV. Our portfolio has 16 innovative, under-the-radar, Oklahoma-connected companies. If you want in, the sooner the better, as our fund closes December 31st. Check out our portfolio at BoydStreetVentures.com. Boyd Street Ventures, under the radar, above the crowd.
Sooner Nation, mark your calendars for Friday, December 13th as Bedlam Wrestling returns to Norman and takes over McCaslin Fieldhouse at 7 p.m. Be part of an electric atmosphere as we honor Sooner wrestling legends Danny Hodge and Stan Abel and celebrate the anniversary of the 1974 championship team. Get your crimson gear ready and let's pack the Fieldhouse and show what Sooner Magic is all about. For more information on wrestling tickets, visit Soonersports.com. Boomer Sooner!
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Have you wanted to become a member of a golf club but have yet to commit? Whether it's time to treat yourself to a holiday present or decide golf is going to be how you stay healthy and active, this is the time to join Westwood Golf Course. Pay for your first month and get your second month free when you set up a monthly bank draft for an adult annual membership. This is an average savings of over $200 and your membership includes a cart. Come to the Pro Shop before December 31st to get signed up.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wing Studios, it's time to get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
Well, I had the open all ready to go today. We were going to lead with Williams Nwaneri entering the transfer portal, and certainly we'll get into that later on in the show because that is big and rather interesting news. But 2 minutes before we're set to come on the air, like 2 minutes right before 2 p.m., bam, another portal entry for OU. This time it's Jalil Farouk, wide receiver. And a lot of initial thoughts with Jalil Farouk entering into the transfer portal. But one thought that I already had before Farouk entered into the portal, and especially now, Parker, who the heck is going to play on offense in this bowl game? They gotta play another football game in this month. They got to close out this season against Navy in the Armed Forces Bowl. Who the heck's going to play on offense? Who the heck's going to play at wide receiver in this game? Are they not going to have any wide receivers whatsoever? Just run the ball the entire game? Dang.
I mean, could you see Elijah Thomas as early as December 27th?
Hey, let's
in an
go.
OU uniform?
Get him out there. Have tryouts on campus. The fraternities out there, you know. Get some guys out there running routes.
Yeah, the cupboard might be pretty bare come the end of the month, Tyler.
Jacob Jordan, wide receiver number 1 for the Armed Forces Bowl. Just feed it to 88. Feed it to 88 all 8 times that you might throw it against Navy. No, that's the big news right now. Jalil Farouk set to enter the portal. J.J. Hester set to enter into the transfer portal. And, man, I felt bad for Jalil Farouk this year because what I was hoping is that this year would be a big redemption season for Jalil Farouk with the fan base. We know how everyone felt after the Alamo Bowl. We talked about it all last offseason. And then he gets hurt in game 1, right, on a big reception. Comes back a little bit later, or a lot later in the year, I guess, but he's just not going to have that redemption opportunity with this fan base. He'll go elsewhere, and, I mean, I don't think it's the biggest portal hit that you've had, or maybe even the biggest portal hit that's still yet to come. How surprising is this, though, that Jalil Farouk enters into the portal today?
Yeah, not terribly surprising. This had been expected. Behind the scenes for a minute, Steely and I had talked about it. He'd asked me, how many of those 5 wide receivers that were injured all year do you expect to return? And I set the over-under at 1.5.
Yeah.
So, if you could read between the lines there, you could tell there were going to be some departures, and Jalil Farouk's departure was not unexpected by any means. And as you look down the list, Tyler, at receivers that will be available for the bowl game, here's the list as of right now.
I'm going to write these down.
Obviously, we don't know what Deion Burks and Andrell Anthony's health situations are going to be like. So set those aside for a second. Your scholarship wide receivers that will be available for the bowl game are Brennan Thompson, Ivan Carrion, Zion Kearney, Zion Reagans, KJ Daniels, as it stands right now.
How many combined touchdowns? I mean, maybe I should just do combined catches. But certainly combined touchdowns are amongst that group. It's got to be
How many
less
does
than
Brennan
10,
Thompson
right?
have? He's
Yeah.
the only one that's caught a touchdown pass as a Sooner.
That is – hey, OU should try to win this game without throwing a pass. Beat Navy being Navy, huh? Isn't that what we always say? Beat Navy being Navy. Don't throw the ball one time and try to win.
Beat them at their own game, huh?
Do it. Might as well try to. Man. So one thing's pretty clear here. Like you said, we'll see about Burks and Anthony, not just for this game, but, for the future as well.
No doubt.
Brennan Thompson, Ivan Carrion, Zion Kearney, Reagans. And I would guess most of those guys will probably be back next year. But regardless, you talk about wide receiver looking vastly different next year than what it does right now. Buddy, wide receiver is going to look vastly different next year than what it did this season, even when they were healthy.
To borrow a word picture, if you will, from the late, great Howard Schnellenberger, books will be written, symphonies composed about the Oklahoma 2024 receiving corps that never was.
I don't know if I'm going to read that book, I'll be honest with you. That's a very, very sad song. I don't really listen to all that many sad songs.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, what's the word? Very depressing style of documentary where the color grading is shifted blue and there's tragic music behind it, solemn music behind it.
From the 405 on the text line, it says, what a great job Emmett Jones is doing. How overrated can you be as a recruiter and developer of talent?
I would genuinely love to know. Genuinely. Explain this to me like I'm 5. How can you look at what's going on with the wide receivers right now and conclude that any of it is Emmett Jones' fault? Any of it.
I mean, I'll play along with you here.
Okay.
Yes, they were decimated at wide receiver this year.
Sure.
But can he not recruit and develop talent enough to where some of these young wide receivers can't make an impact even in year one? I'm just trying to help out the conversation here.
Sure. When you're leaning on true freshmen, and true freshman walk-ons, mind you, because you have to, obviously you're not in an ideal circumstance. And the expectation should never be, and should never have been with guys like Ivan Carrione and KJ Daniels and Zion Reagans, that they were going to make an impact right off the bat. The one guy that we had said on signing day last year and thereafter, okay, maybe he gives you something immediately, was Zion Kearney. Zion Reagans offers some intriguing gadget possibilities, but the one wide receiver that probably makes the biggest dent as a freshman, and if any of them do, Zion Kearney. So it was very clear going into the year that Emmett Jones, and even going into that recruiting cycle, that Emmett Jones didn't need to, at least under normal circumstances, recruit guys that were going to have to play as true freshmen, because there was no reason to expect, Tyler, that any of those guys were going to have to play as true freshmen, because you had the 5 guys that were injured all year, Farouk, Burks, Anthony, Anderson, and Jaden Gibson. You also had J.J. Hester. You had Brennan Thompson. And so when you're going on, like, how many targets were there realistically, even if a couple of those guys got injured, for your true freshmen? Who could have foreseen that by season's end, the top 6 of those guys would all be hurt? It's just, to me, you can't fault Emmett Jones for any of what has gone down, because Emmett Jones had absolutely no control over what went on with his room from an injury standpoint, and he could not have planned for that.
940 in Lawton, OK. Why are you crying about wide receivers hitting the portal? I don't think any of us are crying about wide receivers. We're just bringing it up, talking about it. You both have said that many were leaving, but now that they are not here for the bowl season, you're stunned? No, no.
This was the opposite of stunning, and that's exactly how we let off the show.
I'm just saying, like, I'm now wondering, like, what's going to happen in the bowl game? Dang, they don't have a lot of options right now at wide receiver. But yeah, that was always going to be the case. Trey says not hurt, they quits.
Oh, gosh.
1-star Big Rick at Owasso says Terry Bussey produced at Texas A&M this year. 405 says, all SEC awards just came out. First team All-SEC Stutzman. Second team R. Mason Thomas. Third team SEC Bowman and long snapper Anderson. Jackson Dart was the quarterback on the first team. And, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Danny Stutzman, your lone All-SEC player on the first team. Fair? Anybody have an issue with that? I think Danny Stutzman definitely should be a first-team All-SEC player. Certainly nobody on offense this year. I think that we can all agree on that. I mean, who was the punter? Kai Kroger at South Carolina? I don't know what his numbers are, but Elzinga probably would have had a decent little argument there for All-SEC punter.
Certainly.
Pretty damn good.
I'd have voted for Luke Elzinga if I had a vote. There was a 580 listener that said, glad the wide receiver room is being cleaned out. It needed to be. Won't be hard to get better. A 940 listener says, you're both drama queens. So there you go.
I was just bringing up what happened. What are we drama queens for?
And then Greg Muskogee says, let that be a lesson learned to Emmett Jones. You can't count on anything. And again, like, my response would be, how many wide receivers do you want Emmett Jones to have ready to play? If any school in the country, like if Oklahoma went up against any opponent, even an Alabama or a Georgia, that was down to its top option at the wide receiver position being the 7th string guy, Tyler, you would rightfully conclude, okay, they're not going to be able to throw the ball effectively at all, because there's absolutely no chance that the 7th string guy on this depth chart is going to be anything close to what the first, second, third string guys were.
Yeah. Wide receiver is the easiest position to come in and contribute as a freshman, says a texter from the 918. Tyler from Ada, Jacob Jordan isn't a scholarship guy, but he has a touchdown. That's true. Scored his first touchdown at Ole Miss this year. Blue of Green Country just says, weak-ass receivers need some dogs.
Wow.
Dogs play through the pain. So a guy in Jalil Farouk that a lot of people dogged for the past 12 months enters into the portal, and we got a lot of upset people today on the text line. What was his what was Farouk's best moment at OU? The photo that was taken of him at the OU Texas game in 2023. It was a pretty cool photo when all the Texas players are running towards him and he's standing his grounds.
That's the seminal Jalil Farouk moment.
And he had a decent game against Texas that day after Andrew Anthony went down. That's it right there.
He had, 130 receiving yards?
Led the
Something
team
like
that day. Thank you for your service, Jalil Farouk, in that win against Texas back in 2023.
Chris from Knoxville accurately points out Ryan Williams ruined our perception of freshman wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, you take a guy like Ivan Carrion last year because you have the expectation, A, he's not going to play year one. He's not ready to play year one. He's not ready to be an impact guy year one. But with the frame and the physique and the projectability, that's somebody that could be an absolute hoss 2-3 years down the road. Oklahoma didn't take Ivan Carrion with the expectation that he was going to be seeing the field every single game as a true freshman for lack of an alternative. So you can sit there and say they all need to be ready to play all you want. That's just not a realistic expectation, and no coach actually recruits that way. You can't recruit that way in this day and age of college football. You have to have an understanding with some of these guys when you bring them in that, hey, you're not going to play year one, but we have high expectations for you after you've had some time to develop in this program.
KW the 918, we're getting dangerously close to needing a Tyler and Parker positivity hour.
Oh, man.
We may have to get there by the end of the hour. Some are saying, and I mean, it is a fair case. I mean, Farouk was kind of getting available again. Well, I guess he didn't play in the LSU game, correct? Yeah, he didn't play against LSU.
No.
But I mean, this is the same wide receiver core that they've had basically throughout the entire season. Well, yes, but J.J. Hester enters into the portal today, and he was actually, for the few things that you did in the downfield passing game this year, he was actually a pretty big part of that, wouldn't you say? The biggest offensive play was from Michael Hawkins to J.J. Hester in the Auburn game. And then, how about this? The longest ever passing play by OU in Owen Field history happened this year. Jackson Arnold to J.J. Hester, 90-yard touchdown. Longest passing play by OU on Owen Field ever before. The quarterback of that play, the wide receiver of that play, all in the transfer portal now. There's a sign of the times for you. And yes, I know it was against Maine. But both those guys are in the portal right now.
The Waffler says, I think it's funny how Nick Anderson jogged pretty quickly into the locker room in the Tennessee game and never could come back after 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, give me a break, Lay's potato chip, see you later. So there you go, Tyler. If you can jog, you can play football. You can play SEC football.
Chasing OC, LOL, I'm so glad I can go out in public in Southern Cal and not have to listen to people talking about OU's portal drama. #brutal. Yeah, they're not talking about any college football out there in Southern California other than how they get out of the buyout situation with old Muleshoe out there. 405, what about Andrew Anthony? Well, we haven't heard anything concrete on Andrew Anthony.
No.
Is there a feeling one way or the other? One, is he going to be fully healthy next year, kind of get over the setback that he had? Two, is he going to give it another shot at Oklahoma next year?
I would think we'll know for sure here before long.
By the end of the week, I'm sure, at the rate that we're going up to this point. So, yeah, a lot happening today. Jalil Farouk, J.J. Hester in the portal.
Thank you to this listener in Kansas. One Parker Thune once said, if J.J. Hester plays meaningful football for Oklahoma in 2024, something has gone terribly wrong. Well, it went terribly wrong.
Why'd you say that? Blame Parker.
Again, when you're down to wide receiver 8 on the depth chart, something has gone terribly wrong. And it does not mean it falls on the coaches because they're not coaching well enough.
No, we blame Parker Thune for the 6-6 season is what I'm hearing.
I apparently spoke it into existence.
Spoke it into existence. I get blamed for the One Oklahoma interviews that we do and when they enter the portal. So Parker gets blamed for the 6-6 season. All right, 405-651-3439. A lot of text already on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. A lot of comments on the YouTube live chat. KREF Sports, go subscribe to our YouTube page if you haven't already. We got to break down the public offers that Oklahoma has in the transfer portal. Williams-Nwaneri situation, a lot to get to this hour right here on Locked In. Keep it locked on the ref. We're the home of Sooner fans. Orange Down Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the Yums because Spike was safe, Orange Down Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Orange Down celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Streak, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
Our all-new VIP suites. Only inside the Showplace Theater in Riverwind Casino.
Don't miss our candy cane giveaway every Friday in December.
Play with your wild card to win your share of $80,000.
Wrap up your year with a win at Riverwind.
The Mont invites you to come by and enjoy our high-quality food and drinks in our historic atmosphere. The Mont has won numerous awards, including Best Restaurant in Norman, Best Appetizer for our great queso, Best Exotic Drink for the original swirl, the Best Patio Dining for our beautifully landscaped patio. Come see the Town Tavern OU football scoreboards dating back to 1947. We'll see you at the Mont on the corner of Boyd and Classen, or call us at 329-3330.
When the game is on the line, you need a team that you can count on. When injuries occur, you can count on the one team that knows sports medicine. Norman Regional's Ortho Central is your premier team of orthopedic specialists. With 5 highly trained orthopedic surgeons, 3 fellowship-trained sports medicine physicians, and locations in Norman, Newcastle, and Midwest City, we'll work hard to get you back in the game. Ortho Central, #1 in sports medicine and orthopedic care. Call 405-360-6764 and schedule an appointment today.
Start 2025 off on the right foot at Sooner Bowling Center in Norman. Sooner Bowling is now accepting reservations for New Year's Eve with special 90-minute lane bookings available online. Spots are filling up quickly, so be sure to reserve yours today. With your reservation, you'll receive 90 minutes of bowling and shoe rental for up to 6 people per lane. Their full-service grill and bar will be open, allowing you to celebrate in style this New Year's Eve at Sooner Bowling Center in Norman. For more information, visit SoonerBowl.com.
How about this? We're hanging out with the winningest coach in OU football history, Bob Stoops, Mondays on the T-Row in the Morning Show. It's the Stoops Review with the HBC on the T-Row Show, Mondays from 7:45 to 8:30 with limited commercial interruption. Every Monday, we'll be looking back at Saturday's OU game with a guy who knows what he's looking at. Bob Stoops, the Visor, the HBC on our show every Monday. Check it out.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Did the recent storms damage your home and roof? Call All-American Roofing today. All-American Roofing has been repairing and replacing roofs for over 40 years and is a second-generation locally owned roofing company. They are also a Google guaranteed contractor and offer free inspections. Our roofers are GAF Master Elite contractors with a BBB A+ rating. Call All-American Roofing today at 405-787-0400. All-American Roofing, the best roofing company in Oklahoma. 405-787-0400.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the ref for the Homeless Sooner fans. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, Ref Army, listening worldwide via the free KREF app. Just search KREF in the App Store to listen to the ref wherever you're at on the go. New Bern, North Carolina is tuned in today. Santa Fe, New Mexico, San Jose, California, Baltimore, Maryland, Lynchburg, Virginia, Stockbridge, Georgia, Rosemount, Minnesota, Washington, Indiana, Muldrow, Oklahoma, all tuned in today. Ref Army Locator is brought to you by Horns Down Apple Pie. 100 locations throughout the state where you can find Horns Down Apple Pie. Check it out at drinkhornsdown.com. That's drinkhornsdown.com. We've got so many texts, so many YouTube live chats to get to that we could spend the rest of the hour and not get to half of those. I'm going to try to get to as many as possible, but real quick, and we have questions on this guy as well. Williams Nwaneri. Like, that's the name today. Like, there's a lot of names in the portal, OU or otherwise, where you say, yeah, okay, I could see that happening. I got to admit, though, this morning when we saw the former 5-star in the portal, I said, whoa, that got a reaction from me, Williams Nwaneri in the portal. What was your immediate reaction to that one? That's been big news today.
My immediate reaction was, wow. Maybe now Missouri fans will see what this was all about initially. I don't know, Tyler. You think maybe they're a little bit more willing to believe the things that I had said at the outset when Williams Nwaneri committed to Missouri in August of 2023?
Maybe. I just really enjoyed everybody retweeting and putting out the video of Drink in the Crocs and cargo shorts today, jumping in the arms of another man there. Like, the fact that was going around so much today, being made fun of, I was like, that makes my day.
All that for 38 snaps and a portal entry.
Yeah, so not a – I did see one Missouri account say, is 11 a.m. too early to be drinking? Ask for a friend. That's pretty rich coming from the state of Missouri. I thought 11 a.m. was always the right time to be drinking out there. What's the early scuttlebutt on him? Is Nebraska thought to be a possibility for old Williams Nwaneri?
Well, yeah, the school that I would look at is Nebraska. And look, there are going to be some rich offers for him as a former 5-star guy that's only a year removed from graduating high school. He didn't do much in his true freshman year at Missouri, and I truly don't know yet whether Oklahoma's going to pursue him. But Nebraska, because his high school coach Jamar Mosey is there, would make a lot of sense as a landing spot.
From the 405, nose tackle from Louisiana Tech. Did that offer just get made public or
yes,
something?
Yes, David Blay, defensive tackle from La Tech. David Blay is the name.
I'm sure that's going to go over well. I mean, you know what it is right now. Someone can have an impressive resume or, they've done a lot at that level, and I'm not saying that people are totally wrong about this either, but what have we seen thus far? We've seen, like, Indiana. We've seen Western Carolina. Now we've seen Louisiana Tech. We've seen Tulsa thus far. And Miami. Did I say Miami of Ohio already? People just see that and think, why aren't we big game hunting? What's going on? Why aren't we big game hunting a little bit more? Why are we going after Louisiana Tech's nose tackle? What's going on here?
Well, and again, to those people, I would ask, what does big game hunting look like to you? Who do you want to go? Who do you wish OU was pursuing in the portal that they're not?
I'll give you one, and okay. I don't know if they're not. I did see a short list for the Georgia Tech wide receiver, but I think he's probably considered. I don't know if he's considered the best wide receiver in the portal, but he's got to be considered one of the best wide receivers in the portal, and I've seen his name thrown out quite a bit as, hey, like, that guy's good, let's go get that dude.
Did I miss Did you say the name? Did I just miss that?
Well, I'm blanking on the name, the Georgia Tech wide receiver.
Georgia Tech, Eric Singleton. Yeah. Eric Singleton is who you're thinking about. Yeah, look, I do think Oklahoma's going to get involved there, but obviously he was just in the portal yesterday, just announced his plans to get in the portal yesterday, so they had already been working on several other portal recruitments. They'd known that Reggie Virgil was going to be getting in the portal. Donovan McCulley had been in the portal, and so you kind of attack them chronologically, if you will. Donovan McCulley was on a visit to Oklahoma yesterday, so that's kind of the first guy that they put a red eye on in the portal. He'd been in the portal since October as a grad transfer. And so we'll see how Emmett Jones plays his hand here because, look, Oklahoma's going to need probably 4, maybe 5 wide receivers in the portal at minimum. They're going to need to completely rebuild that room because it's getting completely decimated.
Brent from Jinx says, our offense is a clown show. Neither Arnold or Hawkins could take and run with this role. Didn't have a true quarterback coach until after the OC was fired. O-line was trash most of the season. Wide receiver room injured. None of the scholarship backups shined. The walk-on was the best receiver this year, and some games Jones wouldn't put him on the field. Tight end room is a joke. The beat running backs didn't play until the last few games. Tight end coach that never called plays did it better than the guy that was hired could. Arbuckle sure has a disastrous mess to clean up.
That was a lengthy text.
Very positive. Well, it's like an all-in kind of bullet points and everything there from Brent from Jinx. Hey, I will say this.
I appreciate the structure, Brent.
I will say this, and I think that we can all acknowledge this, and it's definitely a reason as to why he's coming in for this job. Ben Arbuckle has some work to do on the offensive side. OU's got some work to do in terms of rebuilding the roster offensively, and let's see what type of job that they do. But this is not a situation where Ben Arbuckle just walks in and says, all right, boys, let's go. I got the talent all around me. All we need is my system, and it'll work perfectly here. They've got to. I mean, they're going to have to make some real strides on the offensive side. There ain't no doubt about that.
5-star Randy says, "Well, it's a good thing we play Navy in the bowl game because apparently we'll need to run the wishbone with so many receivers leaving. We need to practice it." Back to the bone, a la Steely's uncle.
I mean, how many days you have? Can you learn the bone in 17 days from now? Just do the game plan you had against Alabama. How about that? Don't even need to run the wishbone.
The Realist says, knowing how OU attacks the portal, OU will be after the UNLV quarterback that quit in the middle of the season.
Matthew Sluka? Haven't heard anything on him or any interest that he's getting. Weston Sooner says, is Sawchuk the next on to hit the portal?
I would be surprised if Gavin Sawchuk hit the portal.
Caleb Hicks, did he tweet out today that Oklahoma State offered?
He has picked up an offer from Oklahoma State, yes, indeed.
How about that? Chandler Morris is visiting Oklahoma State today, reportedly, the former Sooner.
My gun, he's reloading, baby.
Yeah. Chandler Morris could be his next at quarterback, and then Caleb Hicks.
My gun, he's finally realized that all Oklahoma State has to do is just go grab all the players that Oklahoma loses in the transfer portal or quote-unquote processes.
Now, clearly, I don't have anything against Caleb Hicks, and wherever he goes, I hope he has a nice career. But you know how that's going to go over next year. If Caleb Hicks goes up to Oklahoma State and has like some great year when he didn't get very many carries at all this year. Yeah, boy. Papa E says, new OC, yet keeping the same staff? Is that an Arbuckle thing, or is BV micromanaging? I know what the release said 8 days ago.
Sure.
I know what it said. I wasn't convinced at the time, and I'm certainly not convinced today that everyone on the offensive staff is coming back. Like, if Joe John Finley gets that Purdue offensive coordinator spot, he's going to Purdue to be the offensive coordinator. And for whatever reason, I still feel like he could have another option or two that maybe we're not bringing up right now. So I'm still not convinced that the offensive staff is going to be as is for next season.
We have a text from Guy that wins all his bets.
Oh, sweet.
On the text line.
I need to get that dude's number here. Yeah,
Guy that wins all his bets says, it's funny to me that Venables says if their recruitment is drama, they will be drama on the field, and yet offers a receiver, McCulley, who literally quit on his team. I don't claim to know all the specifics on what went on with Donovan McCulley in Indiana and why he walked away from the program mid-season, but I'm going to assume Brent Venables and his staff have done their homework.
Yeah, I would guess so. We do have a super chat on YouTube Live. Really? Ryan giving us $1.99. Appreciate that, Ryan. Medical team distrust, a common thread for wide receiver exits. I mean, we've talked about Nick Anderson enough with the whole medical team situation. Does that exist for Jalil Farouk and others at wide receiver, or just Nick Anderson?
It certainly exists. And, I don't want to name names because whether or not they address it publicly is at their discretion. But, yes, that is certainly a shared sentiment among many others on this OU football roster. I know that much. Also, dibs on the 199. I'm going to HTO.
well, since you called it, sir, I guess the 199 goes directly to you. Mike, we get the 3-star U comments.
Oh, yes.
Michael on the YouTube chat says mid-major U now. because of who they're pursuing in the portal right now, which is actually pretty funny. I like that quite a bit. That was good. Micah Hudson, A&M, thought to maybe be the leader early on for the former 5-star Micah Hudson. Arkansas, dude, decimated. Arkansas is getting destroyed right now in the portal, and it looks like a lot of their players are going to go to SEC schools. Luke Hasz is going to take an Alabama visit. He's going to take an Ole Miss visit. And did I see an LSU visit in there as well for Luke Hasz? So OU's likely going to play, a guy that was very coveted in state a few years ago. But Arkansas is in a very, very tough spot right now. Dylan Stewart's going to come back to South Carolina, reportedly for $1.5 million next year for the Gamecocks. Wow. Grayson Harris is heading to Mississippi State, former OU wide receiver commits. And Kendall Daniels, who we didn't talk about yesterday, is entering into the transfer portal. And he's going to be one of the most experienced defensive players that's out there available on the open markets. We'll see what Kendall Daniels' services look like for next year.
Yeah, it wouldn't totally shock me to see OU get involved there with Kendall Daniels.
I did see Nick Anderson. A few SEC schools are being mentioned early on for Nick. What's the scuttlebutt for Nick Anderson?
It's Ole Miss and Florida. I know Florida is heavily, heavily interested in bringing Nick Anderson in, as is Ole Miss. And I believe there was some buzz from LSU as well. But if I had to throw a dart right now and guess where he lands, I would say Florida, just based on what I've heard in the early stages of the process. There's a lot that can change and will change with a guy that is expected to command as much as Nick Anderson will on the open market, because say what you will about his injury history, but when he was healthy in 2023, he proved that when healthy, he's one of the best wide receivers in the country.
He'd be teaming up with a very good young quarterback out there as well with the Florida Gators. Maybe he could do it again to Texas next year. Florida will play Texas in the Swamp next season. And we'll find out all of the dates for OU's 2025 schedule tomorrow night. I believe that's at 6 p.m. on the SEC network. Chris from Knoxville says, chances the staff kicks the tires on Nitro Tuggle or Kendrick Law. Nitro Tuggle, the Georgia wide receiver, former Georgia wide receiver, I should say.
Feels like a guy named Nitro Tuggle is a must-add to a wide receiver room, doesn't it?
Just based off name alone at this point.
I have not heard anything linking Nitro Tuggle and Kendrick Law to Oklahoma as of yet.
Nitro Tuggle would be amazing, though, if we can talk about that all off season. That would really help. John Mateer, I know a lot of you are texting in about him. There was something posted by a Washington State message board. I don't know if it was one of their actual guys that covers the beat out there, or if that was just a poster. But there's a rumor out right now that maybe John Mateer by the end of the week could make a decision on whether he's staying at Washington State or not. Like, they're going to make a presentation to him out there in Pullman. And
ooh, a presentation.
Yes. Here's what we have for you.
That sounds like a
very PowerPoint.
Yeah, that sounds like a very Washington State approach.
Here's the stadium. We will name it after you. Here's all the money we have. We will give it to you. Maybe that'll be good enough. But there's a rumor out there that by the end of the week, I don't know, publicly or privately, that John Mateer can make it.
He's going to rename Pullman, call it Mateer Washington instead.
If he's that good, he might. Do you think he would be – this is probably impossible to answer. Do you think he would be OU's number one target at quarterback if they didn't hire Ben Arbuckle? Let's just say, for instance, if they hired Buster Faulkner, is OU waiting around like they're seemingly going to wait around for John Mateer?
I don't think so. And John Mateer may still be the guy that they want, certainly, if the offensive coordinator had been anybody else. But when you hire Washington State's offensive coordinator and you have the expectation that Washington State's quarterback is going to get in the portal, you can feel a lot more confident about your chances to land said quarterback. If you don't hire their offensive coordinator, then it's a little bit more of a shot in the dark. And so, no, I don't think Oklahoma's sitting waiting, seeing what John Mateer is going to do at this point if they had hired anybody other than Ben Arbuckle.
But will he enter into the portal? Will he not? When will he enter into the portal? If he does, I got to feel like OU's in a good spot to really be in on the know on that one, with Ben Arbuckle being the OC. I'm going to guess that Ben Arbuckle probably, if he doesn't already, will have a good idea one way or the other what happens with John Mateer.
Gunny of Stutzman Army is reporting that the Cougars have offered Mateer 2 bushels of apples.
Thank you for that, Gunny. Keep those great reports coming.
A-Train says, I think I saw some clickbait on YouTube about Nick Anderson maybe coming back.
Yes,
yes,
I saw that too.
Avoid the YouTube clickbait. It does no one any good.
They'll get you with those thumbnails, man, won't
Dude,
they?
It's what they're designed to do.
Man, some have no shame out there. Pretty good at it, I got to say. And watch out for the troll accounts, guys. Those troll accounts are everywhere, including in our own fan base. Tattoo Baker, making people think Lenora Sellers from South Carolina is in the transfer portal. I even got a text today. Wow, I can't believe Ryan Williams is in the transfer portal. I didn't have to look. I said, that's a troll accounts. A lot of troll accounts out there. Be careful, people.
There was a listener, I think it was LJ, that asked, why rescind offers to wide receivers if we're wide receiver poor? Well, to go back to the conversation we were having at the outset about Emmett Jones, you can't have it both ways, right? You can't say, well, Emmett Jones has to have every single wide receiver in his room ready to play, and then also wonder why Oklahoma's not taking guys that very obviously aren't going to be year one contributors.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the reality. That was the reality for Grayson Harris and Marcus Harris. They were projects. They were guys that needed development, were not going to be ready to play as true freshmen, and if they can't help OU in 2025, quite frankly, Tyler, though they're good dudes and good football players, they don't do OU a whole lot of good, and they don't do this coaching staff a whole lot of good because you got to get through 2025. You have to win in 2025.
Jimmy Satterfield says Malik Murphy would be a good get at quarterback. I saw Malik Murphy, is available via Duke right now in the transfer portal.
Yes.
Darian Menza taking a Duke visit, speaking of the Duke Blue Devils. How about that? Darian Menza, I believe that's his first visit, set to take a Duke visit. Malik Murphy available as well. Big body, very athletic. Saw him at Texas a couple of years ago, and Duke had a pretty decent seat. Who do they play? I think they play Ole Miss in a bowl game, maybe.
Do they?
Yeah, I think maybe that's right.
They've quietly had some solid success in the ACC.
Really
the last
have,
few years.
man. Yeah. Really have. All right, final segment of Locked In's coming up next. More text, 405-651-3439. More YouTube live comments as well, right here on the Ref. Horns Down Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the umps because Spike was safe, Horns Down Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Horns Down celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Street, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
Insurance at 405-607-6014 and start saving on the coverage you need. Affordable protection is just a phone call away with Right Way Insurance. That's Right Way Insurance, your trusted partner at 405-607-6014.
What's better than tailgating for football on the weekends? Let the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A in Norman make you a winner. Whatever you need, we have it. Don't worry about packing everything from home. Let us deliver it to you. Not only do we cater for football games, name the event, and it will be our pleasure to serve you. Need pre- or post-game meals? Having a birthday party? Monday through Saturday, we've got you covered. And even trays prep for those Sundays when you crave Chick-fil-A. Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A at 405-310-3189 today.
Holiday fun is happening at Heyday this December. Santa is visiting Heyday from 5 to 8 p.m. on December 13th and 14th. Make sure to reserve bowling or laser tag sessions so you don't get stuck in the snow and left out. Join Heyday for one of the most exciting nights of the year, New Year's Eve. Lanes are available for reservation. That night will feature a live DJ, a selfie station, and the midnight balloon drop. Visit heydayfun.com for more information.
Hello, Oklahoma. It's that time when we're thinking about family. the holidays, and being thankful for the many blessings we've received. The entire Vance Auto Group staff would like to thank each of you for the opportunities you have given us to help with your automotive needs. We strive to provide honest, no-nonsense sales and service for our customers. One of the vehicle brands we sell at Vance is Ram. Right now, we have 136 new Ram trucks, specially priced to sell quickly, like a new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4 for only $46,260. You'll save $12,400 with all discounts and incentives applied. You'll also receive our free lifetime engine, transmission, and other powertrain components guaranteed. Come by our Guthrie Ram dealership or visit us online at vanceautogroup.com. Get the best deal and the most for your trade-in during the Wrap Up the Year sales event at Vance Auto Group.
With approved credit, see dealer for powertrain guaranteed details while advertised inventory lasts.
Hey Sooner fans, this is Olivia Troutman, 4-time NCAA champion with the Oklahoma gymnastics team. Season tickets are now available featuring an exciting SEC schedule. Go to Soonersports.com to get your tickets. And don't forget to become a member of Team 10 to support OU women's gymnastics and receive unique experiences and special access to the team. Team 10 supports our team above and beyond anything I could have ever dreamed. Go to Soonersports.com to get your season tickets and become a member of Team 10 today. Boomer!
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at V.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
They say if you don't like the weather in Oklahoma, wait 5 minutes and check it again. Nope, not there yet. Ah, that's more like it. Being comfortable is important, and if it's -5 degrees or 100 degrees, Norman Air has you covered. Our impeccable quality and unbeatable service is what sets us apart from our competitors. It's just part of our mission to keep Oklahoma comfortable. Visit normanair.com for all your heating, air, plumbing, and electrical needs. Norman Air, service to the max.
Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno, bringing you this hour of Locked In with McComas and Thune. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, established in 2020. Many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. Their low-pressure environment creates an enjoyable experience for everyone, and their sales staff is knowledgeable and eager to assist you before and after the buying process. They have all of that and incredible pricing as well. Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno. Just a real quick hit on OU recruiting in the 2025 class. Rivals is now kind of doing a class-by-class deep dive into things. They have one for OU, biggest hit, biggest miss. The part I'm interested in, though, is their parting prediction. Here's their big prediction for OU, 6 days removed from signing day. Prediction, Michael Fasusi will start from day one. Fasusi has a stellar makeup at a premium position, and as OU retools this offense under Ben Arbuckle, we anticipate the 6'6", 285-pound Fasusi to be a huge part of rejuvenating the group up front at several potential positions. Day one starter, Michael Fasusi.
Wow. I'm not buying it. And look, Fasusi's going to be an outstanding player in the long run. Outstanding. I think he's starting by his redshirt freshman year, but I do think he redshirts next year. He's going to play left tackle. That's the vision. That's what he's been sold on. And the Sooners get one more year of Jake Sexton next season. I would expect that Jake Sexton is your starting left tackle. Michael Fasusi is next in line.
Who's the most intriguing offer that OU publicly that we know of? Derek Simmons from Western Carolina. We find that one out last night. Reggie Virgil is out there as well. Who would you say is the most intriguing public offer that we know of?
I mean, anybody want to hear it, but Luke McGarry at Tulsa. There's a fascination with that kid nationally, Tyler, and he's got a very impressive athletic profile, and I think that's what so many schools are enamored with. But you see a kid from Tulsa that has 17 catches for 231 yards and a touchdown this year, you're thinking, what is Oklahoma doing? And I'll be honest, that was kind of my knee-jerk reaction as well. But you delve a little bit deeper into McGarry and then see all of the schools that are similarly interested in his services. You come to realize, okay, like maybe this kid isn't a scrub. Maybe he's not the next Bauer Sharp. Maybe he's worth something.
Did I see an LSU offer for him
LSU
today?
last night. And LSU does not roster scrub tight ends. By the way, LSU had a tight end hit the portal.
I did not know who he was until the trip to Baton Rouge. I'm like, wait a minute. They got a player named Pimpton on their roster? Seriously?
Kamorian Pimpton.
Pimpton just hit the portal today.
2 years of eligibility left. I think OU gets involved there.
Yeah, that Pimpton would be Pimpton and Nitro Tuggle.
He is from Fort Worth. Kamorian Pimpton is flipped from Vanderbilt to LSU on signing day back in the 2023 class.
San John, Jacob Sexton is injured. He won't hold up. 405, if the tight end is willing to play for Joe John Finley, he isn't good enough to play for OU.
Gosh. Oh, is that going to be the narrative for pretty much any tight end that OU lands short of Tanner Koziel? Well, if Joe John Finley wants him, he must suck.
Said the same thing about Bauer blanking Sharp, LOL. Spartan Sooner says if Jacob Sexton is your starting left tackle, then Fasusi. Does Howland move to right tackle?
I don't know who Oklahoma's starting right tackle is next year.
Yeah, we got a lot of time to go to sort that one out.
It could very well be a transfer. A guy like Ethan Onianwa from Rice. It could be Jake Taylor. It could be Logan Howland. That'll be one of the interesting battles to me. I think your starting interior offensive linemen next year are Troy Everett at center, Fabechi Wiwu at right guard, and then is it Heath Ozida or is it Eddie Pierre-Louis?
EPL, let's go.
Other guard spot.
We want the EPL show. How long has it been since we've outright rooted for a offensive lineman to get more playing time, and can't wait to see him when he's actually in the football game? EPL, I'm a very big fan. Williams Nwaneri, true freshman. He'll have he redshirted this year, correct? Williams Nwaneri.
He did.
He'll have all of his eligibility remaining outside of that outside of the redshirt year, of course. Kamari Moore quote tweeted it, and then how about GK Gerald McCoy getting in on the action as well? He got a lot of Twitter run for what he said about the whole Williams Nwaneri situation, which was rather interesting. So Gerald McCoy, very involved social media-wise right now with all the madness that is going on in college football. But the big story, OU related, J.J. Hester plans to enter into the portal. Jalil Farouk plans to enter into the portal. And as we talked about earlier, wide receiver going to look very, very different. Very, very different than it was this past year. And clearly they had a lot of injuries at that situation or at that position. But when I say different, it means there's going to be a lot of new at wide receiver via the transfer portal. And if we were making wagers at this point, who OU's leading receiver is next year, I think the favorite at this point is probably someone that is not currently on the roster.
Malachi Coleman.
Unless Deion Burks were to come back, then he would have some pretty good odds to be your leading receiver next year, I would imagine.
Cade McIntyre.
Oh, gosh. With all due respect to Cade, that's not where my money's going.
Your guess is as good as mine on this, Tyler. You could throw out the name of any receiver that is out there in the portal or the name of any receiver and or tight end that is currently on OU's roster, and I go, well, yep, there's a shot.
Coach Top says the bowl game ought to be fun. Boom on YouTube says, why isn't OU going after anyone with P4 experience? I think OU will go after players with P4 experience. They'll get some guys in the portal with P4 experience.
Genuine question here. Genuine question. Because it feels like whoever OU targets in the portal, it's the wrong guys for some people. Would you rather, and obviously what you would love to have when you get in the transfer portal and start looking around is guys that have played at a high level in the P4. But you only get so many of those guys, and they're usually in high demand. Would you rather have dudes that were studs at the G5 or FCS level? Absolute ballers. And the presumption is, okay, they're ready to level up and able to level up. Or would you rather have guys that have played P4 ball but maybe haven't seen the field a whole lot, maybe haven't produced a whole lot, guys that are a little bit more speculative if you take them?
I want as much of a proven track record as possible. Can I just say that?
Sure.
Because I'm not one that, I like this guy because he's from Georgia versus Northern Illinois. Well, I mean, it goes both ways, right? Well, You're trying to chase Georgia right now. This guy clearly wasn't good enough to play at Georgia, so you want to take him. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to get too hung up on that. What I want is for this staff to make the best evaluations possible, for the NIL to get to work, for them to go out and spend. I don't really care where they're from. I want them to evaluate who the best players are in the portal, evaluate that, and go get said players and fill out the best roster for next year. That's what I want.
I think the reality is, to kind of close the loop on that question, or my take on that question is, the guys that are studs in the G5 and the guys that are just kind of there at the P4 level are probably about the same caliber of player. Because the guys that are just kind of there in the P4 could transfer to a G5 school and be studs. And the guys that are studs in the G5, maybe they're studs at the P4 level. You think about a guy like Trey Harris or Jared Verse, Braden Fisk comes to mind. Those guys' level of play and their style of play translated. But there's also a chance those guys get to the P4 level and they're just kind of there as well.
I just want the best players available in the portal. I don't really care where they come from, but the staff has got to hit it right, and they got to hit it out of the park. They've got to. 405 says, was Tom Brady at a Power 5 school?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he attended the University of Michigan.
Mm-hmm. I'll take a 5-star young guy than a Bauer Sharp / Spencer Brown. Well, I mean, are those? I don't know if those situations are. I mean, I get what you're saying there. But Spencer Brown was at Michigan State. Bauer Sharp was at Southeastern Louisiana. I mean, those are different caliber there. I'd like some experience if possible. What I don't want is a bunch of wide receivers to be added that have little to no experience whatsoever. I do think that, I'm not saying every receiver. You can go upside with a couple of gets. But I do think that you need some wide receivers in the fold that have some experience and have, several catches coming in with a lot of yards.
Great point from a 918 listener. Cam Scadaboo was not P4. Started out his college career at Sacramento State. And by the way, this is off topic. A little bit of scoop from the Oklahoma high school football ranks. Bill Blankenship is returning to Owasso as their head football coach.
Wow. Okay.
Welcome back, Coach Blankenship.
Welcome back. Let's go. The Waffler says, who is going to be the head coach at Oklahoma in 2026? Because sadly, I don't think it's going to be Brent. We're getting a lot of people down on Brent today, both on the text line and the YouTube chat. I mean, it's we know what's at stake. We know what's on the line. I mean, do you not think that this transfer portal cycle, the month of December, could weigh very heavily on what happened next year, thus the future of Brent Venables? I mean, hey, we know that. They know that as well. They know they got to hit it out of the park in the portal, especially on offense.
Man, this is quite a text from Brent and Jenks, worth reading. If I'm Mateer watching OU's offensive portal depletion from afar, sell me on why I should come to OU other than it's OU. It's getting to be a tougher sell, man. And ultimately, the biggest thing is going to be the money, right?
The money, and you're coming with your offensive coordinator. The familiarity that's there.
But
right?
You also have to sell a guy on having weapons, having the type of weapons that are going to enable him to succeed at the same level at Oklahoma as he did at a place like Washington State.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's some selling points. I understand your point there, Brent from Jinx. It's, what's going on at wide receiver, what's going on at running back. But how many names, like to that point though, like we knew that they had to slim down the roster to the new number in college football. How many names that we've seen are like truly shocking names that we did not expect to see in the transfer portal? I know there's a lot of names, and we're seeing multiple names throughout the past few days, and it feels like a lot. And there is a lot. There's going to be a lot of names still to come in the transfer portal. But have any of these names necessarily just totally shocked us and think that it totally sinks the offense next year? Nick Anderson is probably the biggest hit that you've had up to this point. Everyone agree with that? I mean, maybe you want to say Jackson Arnold, right? But the point is that even the players that you might have thought have been a little bit of surprise, they were still getting dogged a lot by this fan base for not playing at all this year, being injured, what have you.
No one is safe right now. No one except R. Mason Thomas. R. Mason Thomas has a very high level of public approval. Everyone else, right there in the crosshairs.
580, so you're saying that Washington State has better wide receivers than OU? Well, they maybe did this year.
They certainly have more receivers than OU right now.
Yeah.
Again, you look at the wide receivers that are the scholarship wideouts that are available for the bowl game. Brennan Thompson, Zion Reagan, Zion Kearney, KJ Daniels, Ivan Carrione. That's it.
The Rush is coming up next. Buckle up. We got an interesting week here on The Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans.